Hi everyone, welcome. I'm getting myself pulled up over here. Okay. Why do I always have an issue here? There we go. So I hope you all had a good weekend. We had an exhausting one. There I am. There I am. Am I there? Yeah, I am. I never know, right? I gotta get my eyes on so I can see what I'm doing. So when you hop on, say hi. Let me know you're here. So we are doing something a little different tonight. Well, yeah, it's different. We're doing a quilt block, but it's Sunbonnet Sue and Sam. If anybody knows, hi Jody. If anybody knows what that is, we're going to be making it. And I have a wall hanging kit coming up with Sunbonnet Sue and Sam. So thank you, Jody. It's good to be here because I think I was only live once or twice last week. Oh, thank you for sprinkling. Hi, Mimi. So I'm glad you all are here. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to go live today. Tony and I had a very rough weekend. Hi, Julie. Welcome. So, yeah, we're both hurting really bad. So we're making Sunbonnet Sue and Sam. I am making a throw, but I also have a wall hanging kit that's going to be available. So I'm going to put you up here. Whoops, let's get you flipped around. There we go. So this is one of the backgrounds that I'm using for Sue. And this is one of the backgrounds I'm using for Sam. So I have all my pieces already cut out. And this is an applique. Now it is also going to include some baby yo-yos. Thanks, Julie. I appreciate that. So I have all my pieces cut out. Now I cut them out. This is patterned vinyl. It's just like a plastic. But this is kind of expensive. I found this when I was going through some of my stuff. Dollar Tree cutting mats are really good to cut your patterns out of. And you can write on it with a permanent marker. I do too, Julie. I really do. So that's what I cut all my pattern pieces from. But like I said, I already have them already cut out. Well, I didn't realize my fabric was folded. So let's get that cut on the fold. Okay. There we go. Because we only need one hat. And these are the fabrics I'm using for his pants. It's a stripe and a check. That's a different check. And then a red and white striped. So those are the colors that I decided to use for his pants. So we're going to start on him first. So there's a hat. Let's give this one this color pant. Because I already have several of these already made up. And I ironed these, but as you see, they're wrinkled. So we're going to give them a good press. Now, pressing is, when you're doing applique, you want to make sure all your pieces are flat. Gotta wait for this puppy to heat up. There we go. So this is his hand. And this is for his hat. This is an arm. And then we need shoes. So I sketched all this out. and we're going to put it together. So the first thing we're going to do is just preview everything. Hi, Patty. How are you? So first we're just going to preview everything, and that just means we're going to lay it out and see how we want it situated. So part of this is more flat and rounded, so the rounded is his belly. So those of us that have that problem, we understand. My iron must need water. It's popping. So after we get everything fitted the way we like it, then we can, we're using washable school glue. And this will tack everything down. We will press it, but it does not stain your fabric, and it does not discolor, even if you're using it on white. Why is that one too short? Huh. Now I cut all these at the same time. The other ones worked. That one's too short. So we're going to cut another one. As soon as I locate the hat pattern. There we go. Hi, Barb. So I'm cutting 2 at a time. So I'm making sure all this is lined up. So that's why I cut it wrong. It helps if you cut everything right. Okay. So this is why you preview everything first. Because you never know. One little tiny slip and it doesn't work. So then this one we have to cut shorter. So it's the hat band and the brim of his hat. So he is going to be holding, hi Wanda, hi Nat Nat. He's going to be holding a bouquet of yo-yo flowers. So I got that lined up. So let's glue it. Now I've already gone through 2 of these today. Doing all this applique. Because like I said, I'm doing a throw for somebody. So you can make these really, really fancy. This is a basic. And I thought we'd start out with basic because you can use ladies' hankies to make these really, Sunbonnet Sue really dressed up. So all you do is just put a little bit of this on your fabric, lay it down, and just press it, and it'll stay. But you can sew after you iron it. You have to iron this glue. After you iron it, it dries it. Now see, I just did that, and those are not coming off. But I can pull them back off if I needed to. So make sure if you buy this, it says the washable. It doesn't have to be that brand, but it does have to say washable on it. So see, it all sticks. So I'm using a really small zigzag. Now, don't leave the lid off of this because the top of that will dry really fast. If you do and it dries, just take something and cut that tip off or scrape it, and you will be able to use it again. But it does dry very quick. So we're going to do a small zigzag all around all those pieces. And I have some really tiny. They started out as a 1-inch circle, so they're very tiny. It helps if you turn the machine on to get it to work right. So I'm setting the length of my zigzag at a 1, and then the width, I'm going about a 3.5. Hi Teresa, welcome. So we just put together, hi Kay, we just put together a, oh thanks Julie, I appreciate that. This is just scrap fabric. That's all this is that I'm using. You can do so much with your scraps. So we're just going to follow it all the way around. Now watch your fabric, not your needle. Your needle's only going to go up and down. But to keep your lines straight, watch your fabric. Pick a place on your presser foot as your guide for the edge of your fabric, and you will be able to keep everything straight. Thanks, Teresa. Yeah, these are just scrap fabrics. I have to wiggle around because sitting here is not cooperating today. So we did a really close zigzag, a small zigzag, almost a buttonhole stitch all the way around. So that's going to seal your edges, and that's going to keep your fabric from fraying. I need to come down just a bit more. Hi, Joanne. I don't know if I said hi to you, but hi again. I really appreciate y'all hopping on. So I'm not pushing my fabric. All I'm doing is guiding it around the curves. If you let your feed dogs move your fabric for you, you will find out that you won't have as many issues with your thread breaking or knotting up. I drew this pattern out. I'm going to have a wall hanging kit. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have it, all the fabrics figured out. But I drew this pattern out. So this is something, because of all the curves on it, you don't want to go fast. You want to start out slow until you get the hang of it, and then you can speed it up some. So those of you that have tons of questions about applique, we've been doing a ton of applique here lately. And it's the same on almost everything I've done. Now you can do this by hand by doing a blanket stitch. But if you do that, do a very small blanket stitch. Hi, Brenda. Oh, God, I'm glad you made it. So this is Sunbonnet Sue and Sam. Sue is more popular than Sam, but I'm making a throw with both of them on it. And then the wall hanging will have 2 Sues and 2 Sams. But he's going to have a bouquet of flowers. And she has a yo-yo also on her. Whoops. Did I run out? No, I did not. Now this is a new cone of thread. So I don't know why this one just broke. The other cone, every few minutes I had to keep changing it. So this one, I hope it's not the same because I bought them both at the same time. Oh yeah, Wanda, I have always wanted one. And I drew this pattern out a long time ago. One of my patients had one. And one evening while she was sleeping, I sketched out hers. But hers was behind glass because it was her grandmother's. So they had it framed. Oh, that's a good idea. Scotch guard. Hi, Donna. So Thursday, when we left to go get the truck, there were baby birds that had hatched over our front door. Of all places for the mother to build the nest. We came home last night and they were all gone. So I don't know how long they'd been in that nest. But Thursday's the first time we saw babies. So Mama lost her nest because they made a mess on my front porch. Hi, Sheila. Oh, yeah. So let's do her arm. So I'm just picking a place on the inside of my foot to run along the edge of my fabric. So it's good to test on a piece of scrap fabric so that you can get your foot lined up right. Hi, Barbara. How are you? And if you keep your fabric lined up on wherever you decide that spot is, everything will stay straight. I need to slow that down going around that little hand. The tinier your pieces are, the slower you have to go. And sometimes you just have to keep lifting that presser foot up and moving your fabric around. So right here at the end of the hand, I'm going to backstitch. I'm not cutting my thread, I'm just moving it over to this part of the arm. So that's called a jump stitch, and we will cut those after we're completely done. So I'm going to backstitch. And then go around the bottom part of her sleeve, or his sleeve. Now I've put laces on hers. Then we'll speed this up. We get around this little curve. So we're going to do her tonight also. And then I'll show you some blocks I already have done. I have one completely done. Hi, Deborah. I'm glad you could join me. So this is just another idea for your yo-yos, if you've been making them. Now, like I said, these blocks can all be done by hand with a blanket stitch. Now my machine has a blanket stitch. I just like a little zigzag. Now you can buy variegated thread, and that would look really nice on these too. Oh, thank you. I just went through all of my scraps. See, I'm doing another jump thread. All my scraps and pulled out. Even these are 10-inch squares. Yeah, yes, I do too. But we're using tiny ones tonight. These started out as a 1-inch circle, so they're tiny. They're about an 1/8 inch now. Yeah, I think I got a lot of people making yo-yos right now. But I've been making them for years. I have a plastic file tote full. We'll pick that. Now, even with that glue, see I have a hump in my fabric there. Even with the glue on it, you can still pick that up and move your fabric around and straighten it out if you end up with a hump like that. Hi, Dorothy. So I'm making sure that my needle lands right on the edge of that fabric. So, oh, you're trying to fight the urge? Give in. Give in. They're addictive. You might as well join the rest of us. So I'm landing right on the edge of my fabrics. That way when I turn it, this line where I'm lining up my fabric on this foot lines up. So that's just something that you have to play around with to see how yours is going to line up. I'll turn that down a little bit. Yeah, you have to give in. You have to make yo-yos with the rest of us. Too bad we don't all live closer. We could get together and make yo-yos together. It's a nice way to use up a bunch of scraps. Because you can make them as big or as little. And then there's a ton of things you can make out of them. Oops, I need to do a couple more stitches. And my daughter refuses to make a yo-yo. She said I made her make 1,000,000 of them one time. A little over exaggeration. Joanne, I have never used the yo-yo tool. My only thing about the yo-yo tool is when I make yo-yos, and I don't have any here unmade. Whoops, that one's got a button already. I like for my center to be hemmed. The yo-yo tool does not hem it. So if you're putting these on anything that possibly could be laundered, you're going to get a ton of fraying right here. Even if you put a button in the center, this center is going to fray. That's my only problem with the yo-yo tool, is because it doesn't fold over your fabric to hem this center, to get rid of that raw edge. Because someone else asked me about that, so I started checking into it. I didn't even know that was a thing. But, yeah. Okay, so I guess I have the same problem with this cone. So they're both going back to Hobby Lobby. Oh, you're welcome, Joanne. A lot of people are using it, but that's my only problem. It doesn't hem that, or fold it so that you can hem that center. But if you're just making something that's never going to be laundered, I don't know if it's any quicker. I've never used it. I've got such a rhythm down of making them. How do I flip that edge under and everything as I sew it, that I'm not sure that I would even like using it. I'm trying to downsize all my tools, and that would just be one more thing that I'd have to keep track of. So I'm cutting all my jump threads. So if you don't cut your jump threads, the first time this is washed, they're all going to be sticking up when you take it out of the washer. Hi, Michelle. So here is Sam. So we're going to put flowers in his hand. And I'm making the stems with embroidery floss. I'm just using a single strand. Now you can draw this on. I'm just going to make 3 lines with the embroidery floss, starting underneath. Yes, Sheila, I like hemming mine too. Oh, thanks, Julie. I like hemming mine because I just throw them in that tote. I never know how I'm using them, so I don't have to worry about, oh, these ones are hemmed and these ones aren't. So I'm just doing a back stitch, and I'm doing 3 little stems. And I'm going to make the stems 3 different lengths. My finger keeps getting stuck in that thread. So I'm making real small stitches. So what you do is you start at the top and you bring your needle down. Now I'm not knotting off. I'm going right back to my very first stitch and coming out again, right at his hand. Just making sure I don't pucker my fabric. And I'm going to make one more. So you can do 2 or 3 flowers. Now you're going to add buttons in the middle of your flowers. If you can find tiny little buttons, they're called doll buttons. They're for doll dresses. Those are what you want to put in the tiniest yo-yos. I would not go smaller than a 1/2 inch circle because, oh, that's stuck. There we go. Because this is how tiny they end up. They're 1/8 inch. So I'm not sure. My hands couldn't do smaller. Maybe yours could. I tried to do a 1/2 inch circle one time and I gave up. Oh, thank you for the thumbs up and the hearts. I appreciate that. And I put fusible on the backs of my fabric just to give my fabric some stability. So I'm going to knot this off. I'm going back down to the closest stitch, going in it. And I'm making it taut, but not tight. And then I'm just going to knot. Now, I don't know if that's actually how you're supposed to knot off embroidery. That's how I do it. Hi, Virginia. Welcome. Doll buttons. I'm not sure if Hobby Lobby sells them. Joann's used to. You might have to get them online. So let's do 3 little tiny yo-yos. And we're going to put one at the end of each stem. So he's holding a bouquet. Hi, Mel. I hope you're feeling better. I just heard that you're having shoulder problems. So all I'm doing is my thread is doubled and it's knotted. And I'm going in and out, picking up a tiny bit of fabric. And then I'm going to take my needle through the 2 strands. And that's going to hold this from falling off. Then I'm coming up from the back. This is the back of the yo-yo. This is supposed to be the front. I saw somebody the other day on YouTube. She said this was the back. If that's the back, you lose all the detail of the gathers in the front. So I'm coming up through here and back down. And I'm going to pull this tight. And I'm going to do that a couple of times. Just because the person that I'm making this for, I don't know how they're going to use it. It is a throw. It's going to be a throw. So when I'm doing this, I'm not turning it under on the back. I'm just bringing my needle, going straight down through the yo-yo and out the side, picking up the fabric and then coming out the side. Do you see that? So I've got the quilt square, but I'm not going back and forth and coming back up through. And I'm going to do this 3 or 4 times. And then I'm just going to knot it off right underneath of that yo-yo. Oh no, I had one of those. Hi, Jan. Oh, God bless you. Mine was from an accident. So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking my needle back to the back of my fabric, and I'm taking it right back to the next stem. Oh, thank you for sprinkling. And I'm going to come right up to the back of my next yo-yo. See, I'm just picking up a little bit of the fabric. You can use either side, but this is the gathers are supposed to be the front. But if you do it like that, you lose all that detail. So if you look at anything that's made with yo-yos that's old, the front is always the gathers. So if you add a button, where's that one with the button? You add a button in the center, then all these gathers around the button give your flower a little bit more detail. So I'm not cutting my thread. I'm just hopping right back to the next stem and doing my last little flower. So he's got a little bouquet for Sue. Oh, thanks, Mel. Yeah, we're going to do Sunbonnet Sue here in a moment. Now, Sue has a lot of detail to her. She's got lace and she has a ribbon on her hat. Now I'm going to cut my thread in the back. That way the little tail stays in the back. So there's Sam. Oh, thanks, Joanne. So there you go. There's Sam. So let's set him aside. And we'll knot my thread so we can get ready for Sue. So this is my fabric for Sue. And they're all 10 by 10s, the squares. So that's one of the fabrics. This is one, and like I said, these are all scraps that I'm using. There's one. There's one. I just took all my pinks and layered them up and then started cutting out her dresses. So let's lay her there. You got to join us, Joanne. We can't be the only ones now. This is her sleeve. So I have those sleeves and I have dark pink sleeves. Thank you. So we need a hand. And her shoes are pink because, you know, she's got to be girly. And her bonnet. So bonnets and sleeves are matching. You're going to say, she got me involved in this now? I put her shoe back. So that's what this is the basic one. So let's glue her together. And those of you just hopping on, I'm using the washable stick glue. That one is almost empty. I had another one sitting here. It never fails. I lose something every single time. Well, let's see if I can get enough out of this one. So that fabric, I think I can use either way. This one doesn't have enough in it. Let me grab another one. I buy these back to school when they have all the sales on the back to school stuff. And I buy a case of these because that's how much I use this. Because you can do this with, you're going to use it to hold lace too. And I'm just using a flat lace. Just a real, it's like 1/8 inch, the flat lace. And I'm just taking it right across her hat. And I'm leaving a little overhang so I can tuck that underneath. And just lay it down. I'm going to keep picking up that empty one, so I'm going to toss it. Thanks, Wanda. I appreciate it. Hi, Boom. Welcome. So I'm just going to press it down. Now it's going to hold. See? It's holding there. But I'm just tucking under that edge. Just a little bit. And once you press it there, it stays. Hi, Deborah. Welcome. Did you get your phone totally done? My fingers are getting sticky. So we're going to put it all along the edge of her hat. So tomorrow I will have the kit of the wall hanging for Sunbonnet Sue and Sam done. So this is very, very old pattern. I meant to look up when this started, when she first came out, and I forgot. So I'm taking the tiniest piece and putting right up at her shoulder. Move her arm down. So see, this is repositionable because we haven't ironed this yet. And even after it's ironed, you can still reposition this. But the glue will be dry, but you can still peel it off. So I'm just measuring how long this needs to be. And then I'm going to wrap it around her sleeve. So I'm using my glue right on the tip, just so I can get just a little line at the top of her sleeve. And then tuck it under. Now you can use, I'll show you one I use some ruffled lace on. So see, that little bit of lace really made a big difference. Now I'm going to glue her shoe too. See, she's all together. Get my ironing mat and dry that glue. So let's glue her. See, I'm not swiping it all over. I'm just putting just a little bit here and there. So I'm going to take some pins just to hold this ribbon ends under. So I'm live again on Wednesday. I'm in an event. I think it's 11 o'clock. And it's a repurpose project. And I'm answering a couple of questions for somebody. So we're doing something that I use all the time that y'all don't see, but I've had questions about. So there, we got it all pinned. So let's press it. Oh, Brenda, me too. And I don't know why I never have, because I drew this out a very long time ago. So I'm going to move these and press this. So I don't know why I never have. Oh, Donna, you can ask questions as much as you want. And that goes for the rest of you. If y'all have questions about sewing, message me. My WhatsApp is always below my posts. And I'll get back to you. So there. She's on. See, she's not coming off. And it's only glued. So let's zigzag around her. And it's the same way. So all the little tiny pieces of ribbon and lace and stuff, I have a basket I throw it in, and that's what I'm using. So there's always a use for all the scraps, including this. So when I'm not doing a project with my fabric crumbs and my thread, I'll just sit down with a piece of fabric and I'll just make fabric. And then I'll put it aside, and then I'll use it at some point. Hi, Sandra. Welcome. We're making Sunbonnet Sue and Sam. So I have so many of you that I need to catch up on your lives, because I missed so many last week. I try to keep my hands from... I'm used to sewing with both of my hands. So I try to keep my right hand out of your view. So when you're done completely sewing, I should have showed you on Sam. Turn it over. You can see all your stitches to see if you missed anything. Because it's real easy. I'm using white thread on this lace to miss sewing a piece of it down. And I'm making sure I'm going all the way to the end of each row to make sure everything is tacked down. So see, I'm just pulling it. I'm not cutting my thread yet. And we're just going to jump over to where we left off. So jump threads is more of a machine embroidery term than a sewing term, but it's the same concept. That way it's not wrinkled. I was just checking to see if I had this sewed because it's really down there. Hey, Mimi. So those of you who are always wondering what to do with your scrap fabrics, here's another idea. I have bolts of fabric that I have had, this thread is going, for at least a year that I have not cut. It's still wrapped in the plastic from when I ordered it. I have only been sewing with scrap fabric. Well, if I have it threaded right, it'll work better. There we go. Your automatic threaders is something you're going to have to practice with. There is a little tiny pin, and I don't know if you could see it, right there. That little pin has to be lined up with the eye of your needle. So practice before you get the thread put through all the little guides, and you won't have a problem. And as some of you have been saying, you have a problem getting your automatic threader to thread. And I have problems with it too, because I don't always get it totally lined up right. But it is something that you just have to practice to know exactly where your needle is supposed to be. And if you watched my last sewing video, I had all kinds of problems getting it lined up. But it took me quite a while. I'm just going right back over this to get her side of her dress. Thank you, Teresa. I don't know where that lip come from. As long as everything's laying flat like this on the throat of your machine. Hi, Virginia. I'm glad you got your phone, Deborah. I hate phone problems. I can never get everything transferred over. One of my kids or my husband does it. I'm going to stop and do her shoe. So we're going to slow this down. So the only time I take my machine as fast as it can go is with free motion embroidery. I don't like sewing extremely fast. Because I find out when I sew really fast, my lines they don't look nice. They're crooked. And I try to keep everything straight. Because sometimes it's really hard when my hands are spasming. Now I'm going right back down this lace where I left off. And just turn it around and go back across. I want to welcome all you new ones that are watching. My name is Jenna, and I'm in Middle Georgia. So if you're new here, let me know where you're from. And we're going to go up this side. So you can put one of these blocks together pretty quick. And I'm going to back stitch. And I'm going to jump right over to the arm. Hi, Colette. How are you doing? Hi, Barb. Oh, you're in Alabama. Okay. I'm in Middle Georgia, originally from Pennsylvania. So welcome. I'm glad you're here. So I'm going right down around the hand, which I'm going to slow down again. So I do mostly sewing. I do a little crafting, but mostly sewing. So right now my table is full of about 9 projects. Why I have 9 projects? Because when we moved, I found all these patterns that I want to make, and that some of them I've already cut out, so I have those ready to go. And if I put them away, I'll forget that I got them cut out, because I came across a whole bunch of those too when we moved that I have to finish. Thank you, Kay, for welcoming them. So we're going straight up that arm. So I do very easy sewing projects. I don't do anything complicated on here, because there's a whole bunch of new people that are learning to sew, and I don't want to make someone feel that they couldn't make something that I did. And we have a joke on here that I've been sewing for 600 and, well, Jody reminded me, 1 year. I learned to sew in home ec 7th grade, and I'll be 65. So there is the basic block. Cut these threads. Okay, so I have several different colors of pink. This is 1/8 inch. So I'm going to cut about a 5-inch piece. And I'm going to sew it right to the back of her hat. Thank you. So I'm leaving it angled like that. I want one side longer than the other. Let's make it a little shorter. There we go. And I want it spread out. Nope, I need not my thread. I thought I already did it. So I'm going in right at the back of her hat on her lace and picking up a tiniest bit of fabric. Oops. And I'm taking my thread through the 2 layers, and that's going to keep it from pulling out. And I'm going to go right through both layers of that ribbon, right where it's bent. And it's going to hang down her back, just like that. So I'm going to pick up some more fabric, in and out. And go right back through that ribbon again. And that's just going to help anchor that. And then we'll pick up a tiny, tiny little yo-yo. So I have a whole bunch of them here. I'm coming straight up through the middle of it. I'm going to put that right on top of that ribbon. Am I froze? Are you all seeing me? My phone froze. Thank you, Teresa. So this I am going completely through the back and then coming back up through. Thanks, Barb. So I want to show you one thing. I purposely did it because if you're going to make these for the first time, or you're going to start applique for the first time, you're going to do it. And I don't want you to feel bad because I'm going to show you how to fix it. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. My loop picked up that ribbon. I'm going to knot this off. So I think I went about 4 or 5 times through that. And I'm going to double knot this. So right here, see how I went off? I didn't follow the edge of my fabric right here. So this is going to fray. What you do is you just clip right to your stitches and trim that little bit off right to your stitches. You're not making the shape of her hat or whatever shape you're cutting around, because you're just following the shape, and you're going to trim right to your stitches. And that way, that's not going to fray, because your stitches is going to prevent that. It's all fixed. No one will ever know. Oh, thanks, Kay. Thanks, Wanda. So there's that block. Now here's the Sam that I haven't sewn yet. Here's another Sue. So here's a couple Sues. They don't have their ribbons on their hats yet. So this is a total different color background. Like I said, I'm just using scraps. So here's one that I had a piece of ruffled eyelet that I put at the bottom of her dress. Thanks, Wanda. Thanks, Jody. So here's another one. So all of your scrap ribbons and your laces, even the tiniest piece, don't throw away, because that's what I put right at the top of her sleeve. So there you go. So if you try this, please let me know. And I'll have the kit listed tomorrow sometime. But I'll tag everybody in it. But it's for a wall hanging, not a throw. So it's 2 Sams and 2 Sues. I keep forgetting her name for some reason. I appreciate all of you for hopping on. Thanks, Brenda. I appreciate it. I love sewing. I sew 4 or 5 hours every single day. And this weekend, I just felt like something was wrong because we were at our son's. We had to go pick up our truck. And I didn't take any sewing with me. Yeah, it's similar to Hobby. Holly Hobby. I couldn't get that out. Yeah, this is Sunbonnet Sue and Sam. So I have all the blocks. I gotta do a couple more Sams, and then I can put this throw together. So a lady in Brunswick, when we were down there, I was looking at buy, sell, trade. She had 8 rolls of cotton quilt batting for 30 bucks. So I went and got it. Brand new. Yeah, Holly Hobby. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate you all for following me, for sharing me out. All of this will be on YouTube. So if you want to go back and watch it again, everything's on YouTube. We get too tongue-tied, Jody. God bless you all. Have a wonderful night. No, it won't let me end. Well, I guess y'all are stuck with me because it won't let me end.